Everyone says that they want a soft life, but a soft life requires hard decisions.
And most people avoid those decisions, especially in relationships.
Well, the truth is, you can't have peace if you keep choosing what disturbs it.
Welcome back to Womanhood Radiance, where we talk about navigating relationships while evolving emotionally and mentally through self-worth, growth, and healing in every season of womanhood.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Today, we're going to be talking about what a soft life actually requires.
Because it's more than aesthetics, it's about alignment.
Why does attachment keep people out of a soft life?
They're seeking external validation.
Because I was going to say, what does that feel like?
If you have wounds that need to be healed, there is no having a soft life. That has to be healed first.
You have to let go of some things.
You have to heal from some things. Typically, that's what it's going to have to take. You're going to have to go back to some dark places that you probably as an adult may think, oh, well, I'm over that, oh, that's past or what have you. But subconsciously, it's not. Subconsciously, it's still there because it was never healed or never dealt with, or it was something that an adult never processed.
I think a lot of times I have fear of starting over, and I think a lot of people can resonate, and you can type that in the chat, let us know. I know for me, one of the things was starting over, but then I got to a point that I didn't care. I would start over in a heartbeat.
Did you actually deal with whatever broke you in the first place?
No, I was just saying I would rather not have any attachment and detach, just so that way I can move freely.
But in order for you to be attached to a soft life, or even get attached, or even get familiar with a soft life, you have to detach from any external stuff that may not necessarily be healthy.
Previous versions of yourself?
Any sort of habits that you may have, you have to detach from what is keeping you from being able to attach to yourself.
That's key. That's key.
Clock it.
Clock it for that, okay? What do the girls do? They're clocking it, right? I think that's so big, and I think that's really choosing growth over comfort. Because so many times, I know for me, I would just say, I was a flight risk. My husband, that's one of the things when we first started dating, he was like, you got to change that. And I was like, what do you mean? That was my safety mechanism.
Because you fleeing was a comfort zone for you.
Yes, you're making me see myself in a way that, number one, I wasn't comfortable with. You're not adjusting to what I want. I need to go where I'm comfortable. Because if I'm not comfortable, it's not that I wasn't growing, but I was just able to just move the way that I wanted to.
Well, I would say you was stagnated.
I didn't feel that way.
Because it was comfortable.
Yeah.
Growth is something that is not necessarily familiar. Especially romantic relationships.
Yeah.
Where typically you need to grow and what you need to improve on in terms of yourself. Because that's where you're going to get triggered the most.
So tell me a hard situation that you overcame that helped you become more soft.
In my current relationship, I was like just in straight protection mode, and I didn't realize this at the time. It was totally subconscious.
You never do.
No.
You never do.
Right. Like
they pointed out to you.
Right.
I think if you have a good mate, they are going to point out your flaws, and sometimes it's going to sting a little bit.
But it don't always have to necessarily be verbally either. It could just be what's going on between you and that person.
Right, and it'll highlight.
If something may not necessarily be going the way you want to look at your mate, but sometimes, for the most part, you got to look at yourself and figure out, okay,
the reflection.
It took me a minute to actually come to acceptance to say, okay, he is genuinely for me. First, I was like, I don't know.
I agree.
I was in like straight protection mode, for a long time. You can't typically be in your soft era if you're always in defense mode mentally. If you are constantly in defense mode and you're constantly in protection mode, you could try to sit here and act like you're doing a soft life or portraying that you're in your feminine energy, but typically you're not. That's a masculine trait.
You're in your most masculine trait.
Yeah.
If you are always defending yourself. I feel like women, we need to key in on that and make sure that we understand anytime that you always have to over explain or you want to compensate by telling a little bit more, you're actually vomiting all over this person because you just got to get your point across. That is not soft. A woman that is soft and in alignment with herself and her soft life, she's reserved, she's composed, and she has control of herself, her emotions, and the conversation.
Soft life also detaches from the outcome of a situation. Femininity, especially, you are living strictly in the present. You are living in the moment, nor are you ruminating over the future and trying to control the outcome of a situation. Masculine energy. In order for you to be in your femininity, it's about embodying what is presently in front of you. It's not about trying to control some sort of outcome, living in your past.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily in your head. You are really, it's from the neck down. And you have to learn your femininity in order to even have a soft life. Eliminating anything that's making you hard, anything that's hardening the heart, anything that's keeping you in your head. So why do you think we avoid red flags even when we see them early? Like, we know clearly this ain't the situation, but we still go for it anyway. We still want it in some way, shape, or form. Why do you think that?
Because acknowledging it means I have to make a decision. Sometimes I want to delay
And
so
be in
that
denial.
way I can avoid the inevitable. Because being single, starting over, I don't necessarily want to do that. But
where is that really coming from? That's just like intuition versus denial. You know within yourself,
You feel
deep
it.
down, that this person is not for you. Based on everything that you see, your body is telling you that, your mind is telling you that, and your intuition is telling you that. But your denial of the situation is completely taking control over your discernment and your judgment.
But I feel like we deny it because we want to avoid the discomfort.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be alone. Nobody really wants to say, okay, I put in all this time with this person. It's not working.
But it's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Most people want to avoid being lonely. It's so important for you as a woman to be okay with being alone. If your cup is full, if you have activities, if you have friends, have your own hobbies that you actually enjoy, and again,
You
if
have to know yourself.
and if you're living in your purpose, then your cup is full. You are emotionally fulfilled. A lot of us tend to sacrifice ourselves in order to have partnership.
What's the old song? Looking for love in all the wrong places. Yeah, no.
And you will compromise certain things about yourself in order to fulfill some sort of emptiness. That emptiness should be fulfilled by you, your purpose, things that you like to enjoy, things that bring you happiness, fulfill you, things that doesn't have anything to do with anyone else.
What actually makes you happy? Like, you should know these things about yourself. For me, it took me to go through therapy to learn the things that I actually like to do. I like to paint. I like to skate. I like nature. I like grounding. I like health and wealth. I made my passion my purpose. So I know that's why I like to help people, and I help people full circle and holistically. So you have to know what you're good at and align it in your actual day-to-day life so it's not rhetoric and you actually are doing it.
What I enjoy is also helping you all, helping our followers, helping our subscribers, helping our viewers. This is a passion of mine, to reach out to other women, extend that olive branch to let you know that we have been down this road.
You're not alone
at all. So for me, helping you all, sitting here talking to you all right now is definitely something that fills my cup. And guess what? It has absolutely nothing to do with anybody else. Understand that my life is full to the capacity. I'm
Yes.
very happy. I'm very fulfilled. I had to fill up my own cup first before I can invite anybody else into my life, before I can love anyone else. I had to learn to love me first and to love and accept certain things about me. Once you actually learn to love and accept yourself, then you will invite that same type of energy from other people to love you the same way. Life is a mirror. There's some emptiness going on within your life. If there are things going on that are not necessarily positive, then you're going to attract that. So it's best to always go within the self. It's best to always build a relationship with the self before you invite any other type of external relationships into your life. Whatever standards that you set for yourself, you're going to set for everyone else.
The things I learned from my late mother-in-law, mother in love, let me say, she taught me to look in the mirror and love myself. And when she first said that to me, I was like,
what are you talking about?
I love myself.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Do you know me? I love myself. I'm the biggest cheerleader for myself. But she said no. And I'm gonna tell you, get raw, get honest with yourself, ladies. One of the things that I did, and this was a full activity that I did, she said, get naked and go stand in the mirror and love every part of you.
Every imperfection?
Every imperfection. I don't care if it's a stretch mark. I don't care if it's a mole. I don't care if it's just something that you're not happy with. You want to be more toned. You want to lose weight. You want to gain weight. Whatever it is. Because for me at that time, I thought my life was full and I was doing all the things, but I wasn't exercising enough to where I wanted to be really happy in my life. And she knew it without even me talking about it. I didn't mention it to anyone. And it was something that she mentioned to me, and I had to do that activity. And I'm telling you, now mind you, I was working out. I was doing everything that I needed to do, but I wasn't seeing the results. Once I started doing that active activity by looking in the mirror and in the nude and telling myself I love me, I saw a complete change, and it happened overnight.
Even from a psychological standpoint, we're going to wind it back a little bit. We're going to take it back to childhood for a minute. If you are 5 or 6 years old, if you're just a little kid, you're a helpless child, you still have your innocence. You don't know the wonders of the world at this time, and you are looking up to a parent or some sort of adult figure that you are completely dependent on. And if they are feeding you negative information, things about yourself, saying that you're bad or calling you names or always yelling and screaming, and your needs are not being met as a child, that has to be healed first. Because understand that when you are young, you are at a very impressionable age.
Absolutely.
Your mind is downloading all of that information that you're being told. So
and it's
if you are
creating a wound.
And if you are consistently being told, for the most part, negative things versus I love you or I care about you, or just positive things that a kid needs to hear, you're going to grow up believing, because experience create beliefs. As you grow up, you're going to grow up thinking, oh, I'm bad, oh, I'm not good enough, oh, I'm not lovable. That is their story. That is not your story.
But you take it on. That's what you're experiencing on a day-to-day basis.
Right, because you grow up believing that. Well,
Yeah.
This is what I'm being told every day,
Yeah.
so therefore it must be true. You embody that. It becomes your thoughts. That is your mental state at the time. And then you may want to know why you go out, do things that may not necessarily be the best thing for you.
Right.
Because it was what you were told. It's your programming. It's what you were brought and raised to believe.
And everybody's programming is different, because I know for me, I was definitely given a lot of love and more so praised. So that kind of infiltrated to when I became an adult. I wanted perfectionism. I needed everything to be perfect, and I'm very anal to this day. So I think another part of being soft and living in your soft life is having grace and giving yourself grace to rest.
That's where therapy comes in. That's where you have to go in. That's like a weed that's in a garden. Those weeds have to be pulled from the root. And a lot of us, as we get older, we're independent, we can make our own decisions, we could do what we want to do, and that may have wounded you as a child. But most of us, what do? We may put it in the back of my mind, and I don't feel it anymore. It may not necessarily show up the way that it showed up previously, but it's going to show up in other ways in your behavior.
It's going to show up later.
It's going to show up in the workplace. It's going to show up in your relationships.
Conflicts.
It's going to show up in your friendships. There are going to be people that's going to approach you in your life.
Are going to trigger those
That's going to
wounds.
trigger those things, and they don't even know it. They don't know that they're triggering these things. If you are being triggered by some sort of comment or situation, then typically that wound has not been healed. And it is so important to write out your issues. Go to YouTube or go somewhere, read a book. There's so many self-help books out here to help you navigate through old wounds and old stories that do not belong to you. And it's up to you, and you should love yourself enough to not carry on someone else's story or someone else's beliefs or someone projecting onto you as a child that you are subconsciously carrying within yourself.
Always, and I mean always, go to God. If you don't have anybody else to talk to, if you don't have anybody else that you feel like is listening, God is always there. He is waiting for you to tap into him. So whenever it's time to really elevate yourself and you want to get in alignment, start with God.
Everything that we're saying to you today, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be, there's going to be discomfort along this journey. Any sort of growth comes with discomfort. If you want to get fit in the gym, you're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be sore.
Because what happens when you're working out? You breaking your muscles. You're breaking it down to build it back up.
Exactly.
That is painful. It's the same thing. Expect the same thing whenever you're going through this healing journey and you want to grow to become into the woman that you want to be.
It's the same thing from a psychological standpoint. It's the same thing from an emotional standpoint. You're going to have to go through some pain in order to get to the growth. Love yourself enough to know that you are worth that process. If you go through your healing journey, you're going to come out a completely different person on the other end. And it's nothing like reaching a place of peace within yourself, reaching a place of self-love within yourself, reaching a place of confidence within yourself. I'm enough all by myself, no matter if I have a partner or not. No matter if I have friends or not.
I feel like that's the difference of a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Fixed mindset, you just automatically, you start dwindling down when things don't go your way. But a growth mindset, you're going to welcome these challenges. You're going to welcome the new things. And you're going to say, you know what, okay, I just need to pivot. I need to be able to change and evolve with the different conflicts or changes that are coming my way.
People with a growth mindset, they fail often, they fail fast, and they fail forward. And I mean,
that's good.
Quite frequently.
Fail forward. Break that down a little bit. What do you mean when you say fail forward? Because failing ultimately sounds like I'm failing, but it's not.
Exactly what that means. Yes. When you are determined, you're going to have some hurdles. You're going to fall. You're going to make mistakes. But you're not going to give up. What you do is you're going to look back at yourself and say, okay, what could I have done different? You're going to hold yourself accountable.
Self-evolve and self-evaluation.
The results is going to tell you exactly what it is that you did and did not do correctly. You don't give up. I learned that lesson. I'm in self-awareness mode. I'm going to continue on. And you get up and you keep moving and you keep going. You may fail again. You may fail several times.
But you don't look at it as a bad thing. I think in the growth mindset, you look at it as a challenge that you're excited to overcome.
And it's like, what is it that I need to learn from this situation? I could give you an example, again, of my relationships. There were times where me and my partner, we were not necessarily communicating effectively. Instead of me blaming him, I looked at myself and, okay, what is it that I did to contribute to the outcome of this situation? Held myself accountable. And said, okay, moving forward, this is not working. Moving forward, you have to learn to let go. Moving forward, you have to learn to stop overthinking. Moving forward, you need to learn to trust. Continued on and did not give up. If you are looking to even achieve any type of goal, when I was in real estate, and when I first started out, I can't tell you how many calls people told me no, people hung up the phone on me, people didn't answer at all. I may have gone through 100 phone calls just to get to that one yes.
That's what you have to do. That is exactly what you have to do.
There's no giving up. You still have to continue on.
My famous line, my line of work, what I had to do was always look at next. You get off the phone, whether that was a good client and you could have made $11,000 or off of your commission, because everything we do in this workforce is off of commission. Once you finish with that client, you could have made a lot of money, or like you said, that person could have hung up on you. Somebody else could have said, well, why are you calling me? How did you get my number? They hang up. you don't dwell on that. You don't let yourself be defeated. With a growth mindset, you just say, okay, next. And every time when you hang up or you move out of a situation, it's next.
This is another thing that I'm going to say that also keeps a woman from living her soft life, and that's denying the inevitable. When I say denying the inevitable, it's a disrespect to yourself more so than anything else. It is a disregard for you as a person to deny the inevitable. If you're in a relationship or you're seeing someone or dating someone,
situationship, because I know a lot of y'all. Because I was young once too, and I will say this. I'll be the first to admit, a lot of times we don't want to cut people off because they're taking care of us. And that could be in multiple ways.
And you
it's
may
not
be
just
getting,
financial.
You're getting some sort of benefit out of the situation. let's just say what it is.
Call it what it is. They are pleasing you in multiple ways.
In some way, shape, or form.
And you know that this person is not a good fit. If you were to bring him home to mama, they would be like, "What? Excuse me? He's not welcome. Don't bring him back." But you're like, okay, well, we just not gonna let you meet them yet. Until I can make you nice and shiny. No, don't deny the inevitable. If you know that they are not a good fit and you know that this is not a long-term, lifetime partner, why are you entertaining it?
If you know that they are not treating you right, if you are being disrespected, if you are being cheated on, if they are inconsistent, if they're not making you a priority, that is someone who is not necessarily taking you seriously. What it is you are not Mrs. Right, but you miss right now. And there is a complete and utter difference.
I don't like that.
At all.
And I feel like maybe this is a no-brainer for some women. Because I know for me, you're not treating me right. I told you I was a flight risk. I could say, I want your haircut a certain way. You didn't do it, I was gone. I want to say certain things that I was very opinionated and very picky. And if my man didn't do it, I was gone. Yeah. So my men, they always appeased me. So for me, it wasn't that hard, but I would just be like, okay, I'm done. I'm going.
We are telling ourselves untruths and lies, and we're not being honest with ourselves as women in terms of the mate or the partner that we have in our life. We know deep down that it's only inevitable before this relationship's in. It's only inevitable if this person is cheating on you over and over. Eventually, they're going to leave you for good at some point. It's inevitable that you know that this relationship needs to end. We'll sit here and justify and tell ourselves all types of lies. Oh, well, he's just stressed at work. Or, oh, well, his mother died last year and he's still grieving because of the simple fact that he just, disrespected you the night before or spoke to you out of turn.
I can see that. Because I was about to say, I feel like certain things are huge, and I know we talked about this on our last episode, huge red flags. That's a red flag to me. You're cursing me out. You're yelling at me.
Right.
But I'm still here.
This is where therapy comes in. This is where you have to go in and change the story. This is where you need to go in and change those and heal those wounds. Because if, again, people grow up believing that they're less than, believing that they're not good enough. If you grow up believing that, or if you're walking around with unhealed wounds, you're going to attract that. You're going to attract people that's not good enough for you. You're going to attract people that's disrespecting you. Yeah. You're going to attract people who feels like you're not good enough either. You feel like you're not good enough. Life is a mirror. If someone is coming into your life showing you a reflection that you don't like, you need to look at the self and really think about yourself. What your subconscious thoughts are. If someone is coming around and again being disrespectful or mistreating you and not treating you like you're good enough, and you're like, look, I'm out, I'm gone. Some people honestly believe that that's the best that they can do.
Why?
They justify staying in a situation, or they know that deep down inside that this is not right. They avoid the inevitable. The inevitable is, look, you need to leave. The truth is you need to end this relationship. This person is not good for you, because they are attached. Their validation lies within that person.
But they're looking on the external.
And you're giving that person way too much power.
Right. You got to choose yourself.
At the end of the day, you giving someone else the power to choose you. Right. When you choose yourself first, then other people will choose you. And you want that. You want to be able to choose yourself first. You can mirror that. Your life mirrors what it is that you want, then you can honestly and safely say, okay, I'm in alignment. Get deep, get honest, get true about what it is that you want, and come to that decision. Write it down, journal it, record it, speak on it, pray on it, do affirmations. Whatever it is that you truly want and desire for yourself, start to do the necessary exercises to embody that. And I don't care if you need to get off the grid for a year. I decided to heal. I was off the grid for at least 18 months. Nobody heard from me. I didn't call anybody. I wasn't out partying or with anyone. I wasn't socializing.
A lot of
any
people
of that.
think that healing is, I'm just going to get into me, and they don't get into me to grow. They get into them to self-loathe and to feed those insecurities. Well, I'ma dress sexy and just be outside. That's not the answer.
That is a temporary fix.
That is not the answer, because what is going to happen? You're going to go back outside. You're going to be in a place that's a club. You're not going to be attracting quality, unfortunately. Why? You did not heal, so you're still on a low vibration, and you're setting your standards probably even lower than did before.
Men can smell desperation from a mile away. Believe it or not, they have intuitions as well. They know women who actually love themselves versus women who are just seeking validation and attention.
That's not the soft life.
At all. You're in survival mode. You're still looking for validation. You're still placing your self-worth into the place of somebody else's hands.
And I think soft life is, number one, what do you have going on for yourself? Do you have your affairs in order? What does your bank account look like? What does your savings account look like? Do you have life insurance? Do you have an IUL? Do you have investments?
Are you even financially stable?
Are you looking for a place to real estate, a place to stay? Or are you renting? Or what's the plan? What's your 5-year goal?
Or do you actually have authentic independence? And these are all questions that you need to ask yourself. Are you really healed? Can you think back on your childhood and say, for the most part, I'm okay with my childhood? And if you weren't okay with your childhood, then you need to dig deep and figure out exactly what those wounds are. Build a bridge or try to make a connection as to what those childhood wounds are versus how they're showing up in your life today.
Everybody has childhood wounds. Yeah. Everybody, even if you had a great upbringing. So what happened with that great upbringing? Were you necessarily outcast? Maybe not at home, but by friends. Did you have access to everything? Were you told no, and now you don't know how to hear that as an adult? Everybody has challenges that they have to overcome, and honestly, you don't face it until you are, whether that's mid-20s to 40s to late 30s, it's going to be different things that you face in your life at every different period and time in your life. So self-evaluate and always continue to grow. Always be a student. That's one of my main things that I actually live by. And you want to make sure that in all spaces of life that you are welcoming different focuses, and how are you going to get there, and know what that outcome is going to be.
What Jonte just said is 100% accurate. In life, in this journey, you are always a student. But to add to that, everybody around you is a teacher.
Oh yeah.
People at work, your coworkers, your friends, strangers, your partner, people you date. Because when things may go left, and I'm just giving an example, you are in a certain place within yourself, and if you are holding yourself accountable, you're there to learn from that particular situation. Yeah. And guess what students do? They learn.
A growth mindset, on the contrary, is going to say, okay, well, maybe I didn't understand that theory or those topics that much. I'm going to study, or I want to make sure I understand the concept for the next time. And that's the growth mindset. Turn that light switch on. You can, and everybody can do this. It's not just a learned behavior. This is something that you can actually teach yourself.
Fail often, fail fast, and fail forward. So we're going to leave it here for now. We'll always be back every Sunday, so please look out for our content.
And if this spoke to you, or it might speak or resonate to someone that you know, please send it to them. If you want us to discuss a topic, put it in the comments below.
Or email us.
Don't forget, don't dim your light.
What's meant for you will always feel right.
Peace. y'all.